Hello, hello. Oh, baby! Thank you! And I beat Frank.
Oh my god!
Beat Frank.
Jesus of what the mic! Oh my god!
Hit that shit, bitch!
Well, good, man. I'm happy you were excited for it. All right. Hello, guys. This is the Yo-Garza podcast, the podcast where I talk to different individuals about their fitness journeys and its effect on their mental health. A lot like my story, a lot of people out there find that they needed physical fitness. They found physical fitness later on in life to facilitate getting over some hurdles in their personal life. And today I have a friend of mine from work, from my day job, as it said, Enrique. Enrique, how you doing, man? Ricky? Do you go by Henry? Ricky? Enrique? Henrica?
Enrique? Henry?
Henry, yeah, I know guys that call you Henry. So I got Henry on because you are a tall guy, first of all. You are what? You're 6 foot flat?
6 flat.
No kidding.
Yeah,
It's that Hispanic thick
I-
hair that gives you an extra half inch to me, I think.
A lot of times I don't really think about my height ever since I reached the point where I knew I was tall, but people would mention it to me. You're pretty tall, and to me I was just
You're reasonably tall.
normal size. I was like, nah, I think I'm good. I would look at everybody who was like 5'7", 5'8", and I'm like, I think I'm like them, but no.
You're
I'm like,
pretty normal. Yeah, you don't realize
Yeah,
the size
I didn't realize
difference.
it. And then I saw like a picture of me next to like the people I was playing basketball against, and I was like, all right, I'm pretty big. I'm not.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, what do you do for athleticism? Why do you think I have you on the podcast today?
Well, I started running. I started working out every day. I do hard cardio, and then after the hard cardio, I start with the weights. I'll keep the body strong. You can keep it in shape. You can keep it strong. You can do all that if you want. That's the way I feel, because why just do a leg day and an arm day? Why not work everything out?
Full body workouts.
Full body workout, and then as you do yoga, stretching, which is very important, always before you go to bed. When you wake up, even if it's a little bit, if you don't have the full set down, just go down, stretch your back out, feel those muscles pull.
Any stretching at any time of the day always is worth it.
At work, in the middle of the day, I'll probably just go down and just reach my legs and just put myself down,
That's good.
stretch myself out, and
Well, now let me ask you. How long ago did you decide to start taking care of your fitness? Taking care of your body, rather. Sorry.
it's already been maybe about going on 2 months already.
And
Not too long.
what did you find was the what was the line in the sand? What drew you to the decision that, you know what, it is time. It is bullshit. I've got to take care of myself now.
Got sick and noticed I was on the breathing machine, and I hadn't gotten sick in about 4 years.
Come up on that. Speak up a little bit.
Yeah. I got sick, and I noticed that it was like about 3 years since I've gotten like really, really sick like that. And I couldn't breathe. I needed to be on that damn breathing machine, whatever the hell that is.
The sleep apnea machines?
The ones that they give to like the kids, the little fire truck. And
Yeah. It's nebulizer.
Nebulizer.
Yeah. So it gives you a light dose of medication into the lungs, a slight steroid, right?
Yeah, so I don't know too much of the medicine, but that's what I would take whenever I couldn't breathe. That's what my mom would tell me. And I would have my inhaler by me that like automatically at night, because I would wake up.
Yeah, you
What the
panic.
fuck? And I would have to, boom, take a hit. Basically, the inhaler, take another hit. And yeah, I was like, all right, I feel better. My lungs are better. I can breathe now. So after that, I went back to work after about 5 days. And well, like 3 days into being sick, I realized like maybe I should just start exercising. So while being sick, I was like, it's just a little infection. That's what the doctor told me.
Sure.
So I would like start jump roping in the sun, like at 2 in the afternoon, boom, 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 boom. And then after that, I started like running around in circles in the yard. I didn't want to go out into the street or anything. And
Then why not? Was there an issue with your self-confidence, or
Yeah,
because of
self-confidence.
safety concerns?
Self-confidence. I didn't think I would make it up and down the road without having to. I would just take the little small circles, and I was like, all right, I'm tired, I'm done, let's go inside.
Hey, you know what? As that's impressive of you to admit, because a lot of people don't understand. Like everybody sees people that work out all the time, that look physically fit, and they assume, oh, it's just been easy for them.
Yeah.
They've always done it. I never ran a fucking mile since junior high, dude. In high school, I was smoking weed every day. In high school, I was just bullshitting. You know, outside of high school, once I graduated, I had jobs that kept me on my feet, and I worked all the time, so I stayed skinny. I ate like crap and stayed skinny because I worked on my feet, 12 hours a day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As soon as I got married, had a kid, life slowed down. Ate the same, wasn't eating anymore. I've always eaten fairly healthy.
Yeah.
But I stopped doing anything on my feet all day other than standing in place at the factory. And so I gained maybe 25 to 30 pounds when my son was born, like 2-3 years after my son was born. And, I'm 5'11", and my natural body weight was at 155, 160 at the time. I went up to 180, 185, which still, to be 100%, looked good on me. Like a lot of people are like, hey man, you look like you're lifting weights now. No, I'm not eating well. And I started taking care of him. I decided, you know what, I want to be around for my son. I don't want to end up looking like certain family members that, once they have kids, they just stop caring about their body. And then by the time their kids are old enough to graduate high school, they're taking copious amounts of cholesterol pills and anti-inflammatory medication all the time because this hurts or that hurts.
Yeah, dude.
And then you see people on TV or on podcasts like Joe Rogan or like Matthew McConaughey or all these other guys that you think, well, they're 50 years old now. They look great when we grew up with them and Dazed and Confused and on Fear Factor. Of course, they were in their 30s, 20s. Of course, they're going to look
already like, what, 20 years ago, Fear Factor?
That was 20 years ago, dude. These guys are 50 years old now and look better than we have ever looked in our life.
Yeah.
So what's the excuse? Why do we do this to ourselves? Do you think it's a demographic thing or do you think it's a geographical thing? Is it because of how much money we don't make or is it because of just where we live?
I think it's because of where we live. And I mean, I wouldn't really say even that because like me and you could say, well, because before this, when I was like in high school, that's when I really was working out, first and foremost, that's when I started. Like my sophomore year, boom, I started working out, and then my favorite thing to do was wake up in the apartments. I don't know if you know where Anaquila's is, Anaquila's apartments.
Don't worry, we ain't gotta get that detailed.
Well, it was over there out of town, and I would start running right there, and I would notice like nobody else is running. I would see one coach in the morning just running. And then I was the only one every day at the same time. I was the only one I would ever see myself running. That's it.
Forgive me for my reaction. You see me smiling, but it's because I was just talking about this with my wife that, I used to, when I started running and taking my health seriously, it was maybe 2 or 3, going on 4 years now probably that I've been really taking care of myself. And I used to be so proud because nobody was out there fucking running. And if they were out there running, they weren't running as long as I was. I'd see them go out and go in when I was just getting warmed up. You know what I mean? And now because of COVID, because everybody's got the time and everybody's concerned about their health and the way that COVID's going to affect them if they don't get it under control. Similar to yourself, I imagine, is now I see everybody out there. I was like, man, I'm not special no more. I'm not that guy in Mercedes that you see running all the time. Now I'm just one of those guys you see in Mercedes. So you know what I did? I started 2 more podcasts, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen, at the Yo-Garza podcast. I hope you're enjoying it. This is just to facilitate my narcissistic needs to be special. So yeah, I started doing that, and I started doing yoga. I decided to be a marathon runner years ago. Then I parlayed that into doing yoga part-time just to help me recover from those long runs. Yeah. And I realized that yoga was starting to do a hell of a lot more for me than I expected it to, other than just feeling better. Like I was calming down more. I was able to breathe in moments where breathing wasn't accessible to me before. Whether dealing with my family, my parents, or my wife and my kid.
Anxiety kicks in.
Anxiety kicks in. So I decided, you know what, this is helpful for people that work out like me, that are cardio minded. Let me try and help this. So I decided to go to school for it. I signed up for the My Vinyasa practice, based out of Austin, Texas, online course.
Yeah.
And within the first week, man, the way that they address the yoga practice is the way that I've addressed basically religion for myself, you know, like, and self-reflection and self-respect is all embodied within this yoga practice that I've picked up in the last 2 months, let's say. But again, immediately I felt the difference. Immediately I found that I was just comfortable. I realized that it's okay to just go for things.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry so damn much. Like my last guest, I was talking to Christian. Some of you might have listened to that podcast by now. And he's a lifter who was always picked on in school, and he never felt confident within himself just because he never utilized what he had to offer to himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now he's finding confidence that he never had, and he was talking about wanting to enter a body competition, a body sculpting competition, you know? I was like, well, what's holding you back? Like, well, COVID. I was like, well, right, but training isn't waiting for COVID. You could start training now. What's holding you back? Oh, well, nothing. Like, well, I guess, I mean, what does Rogan say about conquering that inner bitch? And he's like, you're right, man, you're right. So by the end of the pod, I told her, hey, man, we're going to see you on that podium, first or second. Third or more doesn't fucking count. You're going to fucking bust your ass and you're going to get there. Because all we've got is today. All we have is today.
Every day is today.
And every day you wake up is today. You better work on it. And so back to you. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked, but I wanted to look at my neighbor, just so inappropriate. Anyway, so with that in mind, I wanted to share that with you because I recognize that similar trajectory for you. I've noticed your attitude change, your focus, just for you. What all of a sudden your conversations with me at work weren't just bullshit.
Yeah.
It was on a bit of a deeper level. You started talking about your family more, about your feelings a little bit more. And I think that's an important aspect to working at that people don't understand, that it's a very self-reflective process. And as I've said in other podcasts, it's a very humbling thing to do.
Yeah, because like when you're in when you're running in the middle of the sun, there's nothing to fucking bitch about. You're gonna fucking push through that sun.
It's just you.
Even if you want to stop, you're gonna be like, fuck, I gotta get home. Just fucking push through. So what the fuck else is harder than, you pushing yourself?
You can walk it.
You can walk it.
But you're gonna fucking eat yourself up by the end of the run, or even during the run. You're like, man, I'll get there faster if I just walked a little faster.
Yeah, but like the point was like when I'm working or when I'm in public, nothing seems to bother me because I'm like, just what the fuck is there to be mad about? I'm not like in the sun right now. I've worked hard jobs where I've been like in like 200-degree times.
That's right.
And I'm like, all those parts are for me to, in the moment, to be calm. Because I experience hardships. I experience having, not just the workouts, life itself. And then having to work out, you fucking express everything through the motion, through the squats, when you jump, yesterday I was doing fucking squat jumps all through the yard.
Ooh, boy.
Dude, oh my God.
I
was holding a 30-pounder in each hand. And the yard is...
You're doing squat jumps with 30 pounds in each hand? Yeah. Okay, first off, you need a trainer. That is terrible for your knees and your joints. Yeah. You shouldn't be doing any sort of extreme mobility with weights on. If you're going to have weights and be mobile, the only thing you want to do carrying weights to maintain joint health and stay safe about it is when you're lifting your body, like if you're doing pull-ups, and you're just adding weight to your pull-ups, then you're just straining the muscles more. You're not necessarily straining the joints more. As long as you're not hyperextending, fully extending your arms. The same thing with squats. You can do squats or you can walk or run uphill, But the only reason that's acceptable is because the impact is so lessened, because you're lifting your legs to go uphill. If you're running uphill with weights, or like a weighted vest, for instance, you're landing higher up and you're landing softer on your toes. Now, if you're running on flat ground, you're getting a fuller extension on your knees and joints and ligaments. That extra weight, if you run just 2 steps too far, you're going to feel it. And, you know, as soon as your muscles need a break and you decide to step anyway, you're going to destroy your knees.
Yeah.
So instead of adding weights to your jumping exercises, I want you to actually just work on jumping higher. Just push off harder off the ground, because your body is going to give you all the resistance you need. It's just how much pressure are you going to exert on that body weight.
And I understand all that, and I guess what I should say too is,
and land on your toes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Land on your toes.
When I jump, I try to stay informed all the time. I try to keep the weight like when I have the 30s.
Now the only reason I say that I'm so concerned is because you are so new to it. You say you've only been doing this for a couple months. You don't want to hype.
Well, because that's the way that I used. I guess that's what I can say too.
We're not young anymore, dude. You don't repair your body the same. You don't eat the same. You're not you're setting aside time to work out. Whereas a kid, everything we did was basically a workout. You know, I was doing gorilla crawls on the floor, just pretending to be a monkey, laughing at my sister, you know, growing up. Now, if I'm doing gorilla crawls, I only make it about 5 feet forward, 5 feet back, and I need a break.
I tried gorilla crawls.
Gorilla crawls.
Hard, bro. Got me. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do this.
Gorilla crawls are hard.
But yeah, man. I mean, I was thinking of doing that, just using my body weight.
Focus more on body. As far as plyometrics, body weights, right? But as far as explosive movements, you don't want to have weights on you.
So just like
weights are for isolated workouts. Just to focus on one body part at a time with weights. Everything else, trust your body. Trust that your body's gonna, because you want to have that mobility too. You don't want those supporting muscles to overgrow, because then you lose some flexibility. You know, you don't want to be like The Rock, where you can't scratch your own back.
Yeah, dude, that's
go for like more of a Zac Efron, or a little bit smaller, where you can still reach.
Yeah, dude. The Rock's too. He's big, bro. Props to him.
Dude, he's on all the steroids. That's gonna be that's gonna be an ongoing statement that I make on this particular podcast. Steroids. The Rock is on all of the steroids. All of them.
He's fucking everything. You see all the muscles.
All right.
Dude.
So next question. What I want to ask you now is, what is the result that you're seeing within your personal life? Do you notice a difference between how people are seeing your work ethic? And if not that, do you see a difference on how people are seeing themselves and their relationship to exercise? Are you motivating anybody?
I'm trying to motivate. That's one thing I'm trying to do.
Sure.
I look at my neighbors. Every time I run, I say hi to all of them. And I do notice them outside more, I guess, because I run more a lot. But sometimes I'm outside and nobody's there. And sometimes I'm trying to get my brother-in-law to work out with me, because he's getting kind of big.
Sure.
He drinks a lot of beer, and he was when I met him, he was real fit in high school. And
I'll tell you right now, I have not gotten one person to work out. Maybe my dad stepped up his game a little bit. He had started to take care of himself, and then once I really amped it up, I noticed he made it more of an everyday thing. But that very well could have been on his own. You know, we're the same genes. We probably just think alike. But nobody else in my life took a cue, except for maybe a guy or two at work. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had you be on the podcast hoping that I'm gonna get a little pat on the back, being like, "Hey Tony, you motivated me all along."
You're
like, don't give yourself so much credit. I know.
We would like conversate, but I knew you would run. That's one thing I knew. I was like, this guy's a runner. That I know that for sure. But what got me working out was basically like just not being healthy. You know what I mean? And that's a big key to it. Like, healthy inside my body, my lungs, and then healthy mentally. Because when you're stuck there in the room at night, you're wondering to yourself, like, you know, what am I doing? And you think of your whole day. You think of what you did in the day, like we were talking about the day. This is it. This is what you do the whole day.
What did you accomplish? By the time your head hits that pillow, what got done?
Just get home, and I was like, I just Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Call of
That's
Duty.
right. You're a gamer, right?
Yeah. And
So how has this working out trend affected your gaming?
I don't even play. I play like an hour a day. Probably that's it.
Does it matter?
Doesn't even matter anymore to me.
Really? So
I'll get on because my brother invites me.
now tell me, you were so sure that you were happy playing Call of Duty before. How does that happiness of staying up all night and feeling like shit the next morning compared to getting a real run in?
Yeah, it's different.
Different high altogether, huh?
Because you wake up and usually when I play COD, just because of me, I get so into things. When I work out, I get into it. When I play a game, I get into it. So if I'm playing Call of Duty, which right now there's Warzone, when I lose, I'm going to get fucking mad.
You take it personal.
Yes, so I go to sleep mad. I wake up, I'm like, what the fuck did I do that yesterday in the game? Because I'm like that. Shit stays in my
It's
head.
an addictive personality trait.
And then when I started working out, like you said, I'm tired, let me stretch. It's maybe like 8:30. Boom, 9. Still stretching, 9:25. Let me start laying down and let me do some lay down stretches. Get
Oh
my legs in
man,
the air
you've gotta look into yoga, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just simple yoga routine. You don't even have to call it yoga. Just look up stretching routines. There, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna be yoga routines. Just cold stretching to make guys like you that are uncomfortable.
Yeah, because I know some stretching because when I was younger, they said that I had like scoliosis, so they took me to like a physical therapist and he showed me a whole bunch of stretches. And that one day, that one day alone, he showed me like fucking a lot.
Oh man,
Just laying down alone, and I was like,
exactly. I just had my first yoga class yesterday with an individual. He's on the spectrum, and he's about 31 years old or 32, and he was. I was trying to say, can you sit up? Are you able to extend your chest, lift your chest? And he says, well, I just have a hunch in my back. It's like, well, is it scoliosis? Do you know if you have a curve in your spine? Oh, yeah, my spine is curved. Well, let me see. I had him stand up. I just simply, okay, push your chest into my hand here. I put my hand right in front. He pushed it up. Now, right here, I want you to focus on, I put my finger in between the shoulder blades and just pushed it in. Like, now, how does that feel? Like, that feels fine. No, doesn't hurt. No discomfort. Like, no. I mean, it's work holding my body up. Like, well, that's the point. I stepped back. I told him to stay there. It's like, you have a perfectly straight spine. A doctor never told him he had scoliosis. He just always hunched.
Yeah.
So he's always been a skateboarder. So he's always got that hunch over skateboarder look where they're always trying to grab the board,
Yeah.
But the dude has abs for days from that skateboarding. He's maybe a $125 soaking wet. He's a skinny kid. He should have no problem holding his back up, but because his posture has been so terrible, it's something. So no, you're fine.
I'm good.
All right, so I gave him a yoga block to take home with him, and I gave him a couple stretches to do where you lay the yoga block underneath your shoulder blades and lift one arm up at a time, stretching over your head. I mean, all it is a mobility issue. I mean, this guy, you tell him to go in a mountain pose and put his hands straight up over his head in a TP fashion like that, and his arms were almost at a 90 degree. He couldn't get his hand over, over the top of his head.
Yeah.
He just has no mobility in his shoulders. And that's the important thing about yoga, is that we get so used to these patterns of repetition for our bodies to make these, movements day to day, that if we don't actively work on counterbalancing those movements, like you're picking up boxes all the time, but you never do like a side stretch or like work on maybe like a back bend mountain pose, or even a hip bridge. Like, sorry, these are all yoga poses I get. Yeah, that's why you should do it with me.
I want to.
But
shit scares me.
but it really shouldn't scare you, because yoga.
Oh no, not yoga. Just being outside. I'm never outside, bro.
Well, hey man, we could do private, but we'll talk about that outside of the podcast. But my point being is that you don't know what you're missing out on due to mobility.
Mm-hmm.
You could think that you have some serious health concerns, and it's all because you never took the time to stretch.
Push that body out.
Yeah, if you're always hunched over, not only are you going to have back problems, but you might walk with a hitch in your hip. You're going to end up with hip problems, and because your hip has a hitch in it, that ligament that extends from your hip to the heel, you're going to end up with ankle problems as well, which was my case was. I had hurt my ankle. I started overcompensating by leaning on the other hip, and by doing that, I damaged the other hip, and it was all cyclical. It went back to hurting my ankle, and then I started. It's a whole cycle. But so the important thing to note is just that if you find that you have limitations with your body, don't just say, "Oh well, those are my limitations." Like there's a solution to every problem. And for people who are scared of yoga, I know that's not what you were saying, but for instance, there's a lot of people who are scared of yoga because they don't feel they can hold that position. They don't have the leg strength to lean over that much. Like, well, there are different types of yoga. There's some insanely good chair yoga poses where you can perform a lot of the same movements but supporting your weight on a chair.
You know what it also is? Like, I think a lot of the times, just like we were talking about, I think it's a mental thing. A lot of people just can't bear the stretch feeling. They're like, oh, like, you know how, like, some people say, like, that stretching hurts.
Well, and I think that comes from bad PE coaches, dude.
Yeah.
Because our PE coaches just said, stretch, you should be able to go more. You can go more, just go more. Yeah. Like, that's not how stretching works. Yeah. If all you can do is, touch your thighs and you can't make it to your toes, then that's all you can do.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
That needs to be okay.
It's a slow process. You're not going to be able to touch your toes in the first try if you haven't done it ever.
Yeah, the first time you start drinking, you don't start drinking a full bottle of tequila. You have a beer, and then you build up your tolerance. Just
go to sleep.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Or it's like anything else. You have to build up. You can't run a marathon until you run a mile. You can't run a mile until you take your first 5 steps.
I was struggling to do, like, I was 5 push-ups 2 months ago, and now I'm doing, like...
Isn't that crazy?
50 push-ups every lunch break.
Oh, I can't do that.
I try to do that.
Damn, dude. I don't know what it's like to have your type of body, that's for sure. Woo, the wifey walked in.
I actually try to make it a goal to, when I get to work, I ask my wife, what time is it? And I tell her, tell me when it's, what is it, 10:20? Because I have 10 minutes to get to work.
Put things down, please. Put things down and walk away. We're almost done, sweetie. Honey, walk away. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't want... I'll edit that out. It was just a lot too much background noise. What were you saying?
Yeah, every time I get home, because I drive home for lunch, I get there like at 10:06. So I tell her, let me know when it's 10:20. That way I can take off. She has me a plate there. I finish the plate within like 3 minutes. It's just a little breakfast.
That's a beautiful thing to have that support structure.
Yeah, she's like just there waiting. She's like, you gonna do all this? Are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just doing push-ups. And then once I finish the 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom.
I used to do them before I had as much work as I do nowadays. I used to do and also before I was working out more at home. I would do the same at work because I never left work for breaks. I would go down and do 25 push-ups every break.
And it does get hard, like, to people who are there wondering, like, who do want to work out. It does get hard every day. Of course, you got to rest at least 2 days out of the week. You have to rest your body. The body is what you take care of. You have it all your life.
Well, I think if you moderate, like, as long as, like, for instance, I'm doing a no bullshit November challenge with myself. I just kind of made that up. I was like, whatever, dude. I want to do yoga every day, to get a workout in every day, and run every day. I got my yoga in today, but I still need to run and work out.
After I saw that, the no bullshit November, I was like, all right, I got you.
Why not, right? And you know what? To be honest with you, it started with somebody else, too. I had a friend who did that for the month of October. Yeah. That I follow on Instagram, and I was really impressed with her. She's probably in her late 30s, early 40s possibly, has 4 kids.
That's what's crazy, bro. I'm 22, and you're like, how old are you?
I'm 31.
And you're healthy.
I'm healthy as fuck, but I wasn't at 26. I wasn't at 27.
That's actually what, I guess it did. I saw that. I was like, I do want to be healthy like that when I'm 31.
Yeah, man.
'Cause I'm only 22, and I was already feeling out of shape like 3 months ago, and I was like, hell no, that's not.
It's too young to be
not how it
feeling
should
that
be.
old,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like, you should be in shape. Like, my uncle is like 28, and he's like, nah, I can't. I'm out of my prime. I'm like, you're in your prime. What do you mean you're
I
in
know.
your prime?
I've
You're
had uncles
28.
tell me at 40, at 45, now they're 50. I was like, come on, what's your excuse? There's Rogan that lives out there. There's Matthew McConaughey that lives out there. There's Orlando Bloom and all these other guys that are, they're Hollywood stars. They have trainers, fine. But they're still your age.
Like, you know who I was watching?
If you want to do it, you can do it.
What's his name? That actor from Grown Ups, Kevin James. I saw his
Kevin
that
James.
where he's in UFC, and he got built
Here Comes the Boom.
Here Comes the Boom, bro. He got in pretty good shape for that movie.
Well, you know, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt.
For real?
He's actually done martial arts for a long time. He's known Rogan for years too.
And that's what's cool. Like, you don't know about somebody's abilities unless you really know them. You can look at somebody and be like,
hey, don't go picking fights at bars, man.
Exactly.
Especially nowadays.
Exactly.
You don't know who the fuck's gonna be able to fuck you up.
Like, you were mentioning when I was younger, did I get bullied? You know, before the podcast, and I would get bullied by one guy who was taller than me.
It's always the bigger dudes, yeah.
Yeah, but I got into boxing. He didn't know that. And he didn't know how serious I was about boxing. So one day he had a party. I was in shape, bro. I was running those miles like I was telling you every day. I was shadow boxing every day, weights every day, jump roping every day. And he called me out to a boxing match in front of all his friends.
Oh no!
Oh my god, dude! I was pretty lit. You know, I did drink a couple shots. I was like,
You had
17,
that
16,
liquid courage in
I
you.
was sitting down. I was
At
like,
16,
oh,
the prime of your testosterone.
For real. I was like, oh my god, it's my time.
That shit's
I was
like
it's my
just
time.
injecting you with like cocaine.
He didn't know how to fight, bro. He wasn't in shape. He
just had a natural body.
Yeah, he tried to keep throw those hooks, and you know, I was a boxer, Tyson and shit, going under the ropes, and boom, 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 down like 3 or 4 hits, jump out. I bullied this guy, bro, and I was the bully that fight, and he kept losing, and he kept calling, no, another round.
Wow.
He did like 4 rounds until I knocked him down. He said I tripped him, and I was like, nah, I'm out of here. You're not gonna admit that you lost.
Yeah, you would have had to put him in the hospital for that to end the way he wanted it to end.
Because he was too cocky, too arrogant all those years. He was bullying
And then,
me. He didn't
and
want to
then had
accept
that been the
I
case,
beat
he would
him.
have been like, I was just drunk.
Exactly.
There was always an
That's
excuse
what he
for
said,
people to
that he
lose.
was drunk. Like in the week in school, I was like, nah, bullshit. I fucked you up. Like, nah. And that's like the good thing. Like of working, I'm getting cold. Yeah, that's the good thing about working out. You can prove some people wrong. You can prove some people that you have it in you to strive for what you want to do, to strive for how you want to look.
And you know what? If that's your motivation is to prove other people wrong, that's great. But the best thing about it is that at some point that fire wears off, and then it's just you proving it to yourself. Like, all right, fucker, you are in better shape now. Then now you reached your goal. Is this where you want to stop? Yeah. Are you done now? Are you done? You can run 3 miles at a breath. You don't stop now. Are you done now? Is that the best you want to get?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's never over, man.
It's never over. You just look at yourself in the mirror.
You know what? We're running out of time here. I do have one very important question I wanted to get to. It's one I'm very curious about because you are so young and you have been in this relationship for how long now? How long have you been with your wife now? More or less.
4 years.
All right, I don't want to get you in trouble. I want to ask you for the date. That'll confuse people.
July 25th, 2016.
Now,
right after high school.
Is this the first time she's seen you in workout mode, where you feel she
met me when I was in shape. She never saw me work out.
Right. Yeah. Same with my wife. She met me when I was still pretty svelte and lean. And then I ballooned, and then I got in shape again.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, how has it affected her? Maybe the way she looks at you, or maybe the way that she treats you now.
She's acting a little different, actually, now that I think about it. She's a little more, she used to tell me that I was getting chubby, but now she's like admitting, like, she looked good, like when she's checking me out. When I put my clothes on, that shirt's fitting.
I just got goosebumps. That's such a beautiful feeling.
Dude, it makes me feel, and I'm there working out, and I look at her and she blows me a kiss, and I'm like, all right, let me keep going.
See, now before, when she met you, or even before that, when you were working out when you were younger, it was always just to find a girl. Now you're doing it just for love of how the girl you got looks at you now. It's a different high, man.
Yeah, like, can I just say one thing before we end?
Please.
The reason I started working out is because I really had a rough childhood. I had a mom who was incarcerated. I'm pretty sure I told you that. I was the oldest of all the children, so my dad left. So I was basically in charge of all of them. So growing up, I didn't, do too good. So by the age, where you start growing and your puberty hits you, you start acknowledging everything. It affected me that I wasn't a good sibling. I wasn't, the guilt within me was eating me up. So to me, like, exercising was a way to get out of it. My siblings used to see me exercise, and my little brother's an athlete now. My two sisters are UTSA and Michigan State, fully paid for, and they tell me a lot of times that it's because they understand that I wasn't able to do anything, but they saw how hard I worked for them. They saw that every day I would try to wake up before them and make them their food, and it was a little hard thing. It was a challenge because I only got locked up twice, and working out before they were awake would just get me started. I would wake up at 4:30 and run, come back 6:40, and make sure they were okay, make sure they were ready, and we'd take off to school, come back, same thing, make them do their homework while I was taking off to boxing.
That's incredible dedication.
Yeah, dude, it's
that's important for any kid to see.
That's why it's personal to me when it comes to working out. That's why some people aren't motivated, because they don't understand, why should I work out? Because you have to. At the end of the day,
people think it might be a narcissistic thing, like, oh, you're just doing that for yourself. You just want to look good. You just want to, you just want to look cute in a pair of shorts or whatever. Like, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of the reason I work out is the same reason. I want to influence that boy that I'm raising to want to be better, physically, mentally, emotionally. If you don't take care of who you are, you can't take care of the people around you.
And that's what it is now. Fatherhood. We're both fathers. My kids
you're an amazing dad, from what I hear.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. My kids were watching me, and I noticed they were seeing me just sit down and play the game.
And your siblings were watching you all along, and now you realize that too, and that's a beautiful thing, man. Wow.
Thank you for this, bro. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for coming on. Thank you for sharing a little bit about you and being willing to open up. I know that's not an easy thing to do a lot of the time. You admitted a lot of things here that, in public setting, we can't always have these conversations with people and just let somebody know what's been on our damn mind all along.
Yeah.
And
So
I want people.
The internet's for. Yeah.
What's that?
That's what the internet is for.
That's what the internet's for. Yeah.
Shit stays on forever, bro.
No,
That's
but
crazy.
you know what? It's the Tower of Babel. It allows us all to communicate
Yeah.
across boundaries that have never been crossed before. Me and you may have talked a little bit, hit these subjects in the next 3-4 years working together, in little conversations here and there. All this might have come out. But in one 30-minute conversation sitting across from each other, look at all that can be shared about our attitudes, about the way we approach
the fitness mentality, the health. That's just
self-care.
Yeah, self-care.
Self-care. That's what Yo-Garza podcast and my Yo-Garza practice and this mentality is all about. Just take care of ourselves so we can take care of others.
You're gonna regret it one day if you don't take care of yourself. Honestly.
That's right.
Honestly.
Right. All right, Henry, man, I love you, man. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, sir.
Any last words?
Just rock on,
Rock on. Love it, man. All right. Much love, man. Bye.